This is Charlie Mike, the podcast. Veterans helping veterans, talking about things happening in the veteran community, things we've experienced and overcome, such as addictions, PTSD, depression, legal trouble. And we also promote veteran-owned businesses. If you're talking about it, we're talking about it. This is Charlie Mike, the podcast.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Raul with Charlie Mike, the podcast, coming to you with another episode. Today's episode, I have Amber and Ellen. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I was just going to make sure.
Amber,
With Riley's
it.
Heroes Hit. Now, I had to Google it as far as the hit part because I wasn't too sure what it means. Y'all wanna break it down for us?
Go ahead. So HIT, high intensity interval training. I actually stole it from the Marine Corps. So I guess it was like a new thing they started rolling out for those individuals that struggled with passing their PFT. Mm-hmm. They started doing this Pft Prep Program and they called it a HIT program, which is where I pulled all of this from because Riley wanted to join the Army. And I challenged him to a PFT and told him I could beat him. And that was how we started the 16-week program and how we got to week 15, day 2, the day that we're going to do on May 18th.
So explain to everybody what the whole, like anyone doesn't know, let's say somebody doesn't know anything about Riley's Heroes, about Christian. Tell us a little backstory.
Okay, so Christian Riley Garcia is my nephew, well, our nephew, and he was one of the kids that passed away on the Santa Fe High School shooting on May 18th, 2018. He passed away trying to help others. He was holding a door shut, and when it came time to go, and he was coming around, and it was you can't stay there anymore. He yelled at everybody to go. Out the door they went to out the other side. He stopped to help 2 individuals that were still on the floor to get up, and that's as far as he got. So that's as far as all 3 of them got. So he was trying to help them up because he didn't want to leave them behind, and it cost him dearly. And so where this all comes in, he was awarded say the name because I get it wrong every single time, please.
The Congressional Medal of Honor Society Young Heroes Award.
He was awarded that for his actions. He has been pretty much an inspiration for a lot of us. As you can imagine, getting through all of that. You're from this area. I haven't met anybody that hasn't said, "Oh, my so-and-so was this," or to any varying degree of interaction. Like somebody knows somebody who was involved, whether it was a teacher, whether it was another student, whether it was they were there and they're still with us and they're having to deal with these PTSD issues. It's family members having to recover from a traumatic thing, dealing PTSD, anxiety, depression, all of the gamut that would run with something like this that you would imagine. So that's what happened on the 18th in a nutshell. Like that's the smallest I can probably condense that down.
I was doing some research. I told you guys yesterday, and he's a baby. I don't mean this in a negative way or anything. He was just a baby. He was 15 years old.
He was a baby.
Yes,
he was a giant baby. He was almost 6 feet tall, but he was a big baby. Yes, 15.
And so he wanted to join the Army. Now I have a question.
Yes.
Did you not try to recruit him into the Marine Corps?
So you know how, I mean, and I know you've had this conversation with other people, because I was in the Marine Corps, and if I had to do all over again, I would still join the Marine Corps. But if I was influencing someone else, I would, draw my little map. If you have your Marine Corps, you have the
Air Force,
Army, you have the Navy, and you go Air Force. Yeah, and I'm like circling real hard, go to the Air Force. But he was hell bent. And if you know what you know and you know what you want, okay, fine. And he wanted to be an Army Ranger. He had cousins that were Army Rangers. He had an uncle that was an Army Ranger. So he had that inspiration. Okay, you have the inspiration. Let's do it. And if this is what you want to do, all right, let's go for it. Let's jump. And, that's why I had picked what I picked to start the jumping point, because if anything in the world, if you can't pass the Marine Corps PFT, then you can't pass the Army PFT. You can't pass into, because let's be real, the Marine Corps PFT is harder than the Army PFT. So, like the jumping point. So
it's already starting. It's already starting.
So, and that's why we started the program. So, and that's why we did what we did. So if he couldn't do that, then he couldn't go on. But he was a trooper. He really was. And to deal with two women doing it with him, like, we would give him so much shit for, man, I'm about to outrun you. I'm about to outdo this. I'm about to outdo you on that. Yeah. And he would like fire back, and he was with us. And it gave us an excuse to hang out with a 15-year-old that arguably doesn't want to hang out with his aunts. Who's going to want to hang out? I mean, you're 15, you want to go hang out with your friends and go and do all this stuff, but he would hang out with us 3 days a week, work out, and
just chill.
Yeah.
And
so it's
talk
great.
about life. And it was a greedy way for me to still be able to do something with him and get, time that was going to be precious. Cause even if, if he was going to graduate high school and ship off into the Army, that's another chunk of time that we're going to miss out on. Right. So I was like, well, this, and then he, like she said, he was really a good sport about it. And he'd be, oh, I just outran you, because there's a running portion of it. And I'm like, I'm 5'1" and you're 6 feet tall. That's not hard to do. Number one. Number two, I just outdid you in push-ups, bro. Come on, come talk to me then. Like, I just did 25 and you did 10. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I was doing research, and the stories that I heard yesterday, last night. It was right. He was definitely something special, and and that's what everybody had to say about this young man. And so tell me a little bit about this documentary. Where are we going?
So the documentary is called Love Thy Neighbor. And what it stemmed from was, like the community around here, because unfortunately Parkland happened 2.5 months before on Valentine's Day that year. And you kind of saw, the big media explosion and how all this nobody had any privacy, or it kind of turned into this whole other thing other than what it should have been. And it should have been about these families and how they're doing and what can you do to support the families and all this. So Santa Fe, in a weird way, kind of closed in on itself and became very protective. But the drawback to that is that you didn't get to have those stories or the connections with it. And so it was in December of that year, I'd had an email, and you had to be kind of picky about who you speak to, how you speak to them, what media outlet how they're going to frame what you say, because just because what you say doesn't mean that's what they're going to show. They're going to, you have to kind of really be picky about, who you talk to. And I'd gotten a random message from Brandon Smith on Facebook, and I was like, what is this? And he was a student filmmaker in Texas. And he was wanting to do a documentary. What he had looked into what Riley had done, and he wanted to tell. He's like, there's too many stories about the wrong person in these narratives. There's too many stories being drawn to the negative end. He's like, I want to show something positive. Obviously you have to talk about what happened in order to get to that positive, but there's too much attention being shown in the wrong direction. Let's talk about the silver lining part of a bad, like the positive thing out of a really shitty thing. Like, let's bring that out. And so he asked if he could shoot a documentary with us, talking about my nephew and what he did a lot of vesting and investigating him, looking up stuff like, who is this guy? Like, is this really legit? And decided ultimately what I wanted to have is the ability to tell people about my nephew. And I was proud of what he did. And I wanted other people to know and experience that pride in what we feel, and to be able to see that there is something that can come out of this. You can, if you put others in front of yourselves, who knows what opportunities he gave the people that got out ahead of him, like, what's that going to be, and there is still good in this world, and it's here. It didn't end the way you'd want it to, but it is there. So fast forward to now, we did the shooting over the course of,
took about a year,
him coming down, doing different interviews, doing different footage and getting it all put together, get it produced, get it edited, and then put out. Right now it's in all the international film and, nationwide film festivals. It's already gotten awards from Toronto.
Or it got recognized.
Got recognized by the Toronto Film Festival. It's gotten in the Malibu Film Festival. It's gotten in another one that was a pretty big one.
But this is the first international one. So this one's a big deal
Yeah.
because it's kind of like the door opens. Once you get recognized for an international, it makes everyone else go, oh, okay, like, yes, this must be something legit. Let's take a look at it. Let's see what's going on. And for people to want to see, I mean, he died a hero. I mean, I don't know very many people that can say that they would sit there and go, oh gosh, my friends are on the ground, let me pick them up before this guy comes and shoots me. I mean, what 15-year-old thinks of things like that?
I was thinking that same thing last night.
No, right? So
some adults don't even think that way at all. And he was raised with those values. Like, you think of others, you take care of the little guy, you don't be a bully, you put others ahead of you. You do the right thing. And then, you always have those thoughts when you're messing with a teenager. If you have one, you might know this, or anybody who's listening might know, like, is what I'm saying sinking into their head? Are they really hearing what I'm saying about being this person? Turns out he heard every single word his mom and dad, his grandparents, us, his other aunts and uncles, everybody, everything like that. He heard it, and then he did it. And, of course you deal with them, when you're dealing through your grief cycles, you're like, oh man, I wish he was going to be selfish, because then you would have him back.
Right.
But you that's not the point, and that's not who he was as a person, and that's not what we taught him. So he did what he knew to do.
I saw
and then, like,
an interview.
when you
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, like, when you think about like a teenager, like, they're, most teenagers, they're very private about what happens. Like, you don't really hear about the interactions and the little things that happen between them and their friends. But then as you start to do this documentary, and we started to talk to more and more people, and like stories actually started coming out, we realized, like, he was like standing up for kids on the school bus. He was like giving kids lunch money at school. Like, these little things started to come out about actually how great of a kid he really was. And
things you didn't know that you find out later, and you're like, wow, it just keeps adding to the
thing. So he did this plus all of this. And I mean, crazy.
He definitely sounds he sounds like a special young man. With the whole the film, and were y'all hands on with everything?
Yes, Brandon directed it, and
I like to say that I was the boom holder.
She was the boom holder. She got to hold the microphone. And then of course, always the fun part, because actually Shannon and I were both recognized as producers on the show. Brandon gave us those credits. But he directed it, put it all together. He did an amazing job. He gave my family a voice to be able to obviously talk about this great thing, this great sacrifice that my nephew made for his friends, and for people that arguably weren't his friends. It was a substitute teacher and a friend of his, like, from school. Like, it wasn't even, and then his best friend was in the class with him, turns out. And here you go. And so Brandon was able to put it all together, make sense of all the rambling and the jumbling that we all do. And he made this beautiful piece of information and artwork out of a story about my nephew that was done brilliantly. And it gave my family a voice to be able to be a slight bit of catharsis to help process our own emotions and grief with the whole situation.
So did you find it like a way of healing somewhat? I know you would never actually heal from it, but I'm not sure. Like, okay, when
yeah, I think so. I mean, we have this like giant memory that we'll always have, and it's like, because it touches on everything some of the greatest achievements he did. Like, it talks about him getting awarded the medal, and it talks about the actions he did. So, like, I think there is, yes, there is this sense of healing that can be taken from it, that we have been able to take from it. Like, yes, he did this. Look at him. He's a badass.
It is I think it was it gave an ability to reflect and kind of give an outlet for those things to go, like and for it to be, it's one thing for you and I now, this is this conversation is going to be seen by everybody else, and this is another way for it to keep going, and then the documentary, it's now out there, so the ability for his story to keep continuing, which is something that I was really sought out, was I get to tell people about this, and it's not going away. It can continue to be told and can continue to be seen. So that helped me. And obviously mental health stuff is important when you talk about things, and selfishly, it was like, well, maybe if somebody sees this and they can take something away that helps them later, helps them process, because these things, we are not the only town that has dealt with this, unfortunately, and in this capacity. And we are not the only people who have lost someone in a traumatic way, or have been a veteran that has lost somebody in combat, or a relative, or anything like that. So the type of grief and how it manifested is not the same, but the grief that you're feeling of losing somebody in a traumatic way, and that pain is kind of the same. The symptoms are the same. So if something we say or do helps, then for me, that made being uncomfortable and talking about my feelings on camera, and now on a podcast, like, where my family is a very private family, and no good can come from keeping something inside. You need to let it go, because somebody might take something that you might have thought was nothing or little, and that's the thing that helped them push through and be, I don't know, better, but help them.
You said it perfectly, what you just said right there. Like, even something small that you say that you don't think will help anyone, it could.
And you're like, you did this that one day, and you're like, I did? Yeah, I did that. I'm glad it helped. And then you feel like all the other bad things kind of get, okay, it was worth it. It was worth being uncomfortable, being uncomfortable. All of that, all those little military sayings that you two have, embracing the suck, or dig and eat, do it, all that stuff,
We're different.
Yes, y'all are. Yes,
but
you are.
I tell her all the time, and people resonate with emotion, because emotion is honesty, and people resonate, and they can feel it and relate to it. So it helps. And if you're open and honest about something you're going through, it can resonate with someone and make them want to be open and honest about dealing with it too. It's an honest emotion.
Will y'all be attending the award ceremony? I know he's going to be presented the award. Will you guys be there?
It was supposed to happen already.
Right.
It was supposed to happen that year, because COVID. It was
supposed to happen March of 2020.
March of 2020. COVID blew those plans out of the water. Right. So they had tried to do it again this year, but it didn't work out because of COVID again. So I think they're looking at sometime in October, November.
Oh, so they already canceled. They canceled.
Yeah, they already, because they were going to reschedule it again for March of this year.
Right.
And now they've pushed it back even further. I think they're going to do it in September. They're doing it in fall, and they're not doing, originally it was supposed to be in DC, why not? But now they're pushing it to doing it in Boston. So it's not, the award for him to get it is still a big deal. Yes. But some of the stuff that they've already, that comes with it, like the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, they present a wreath, but they already did it. So we don't get to be there to do it. They've already done it. They did it without us. So now it's just the ceremony itself that's going to happen.
And we, unfortunately, because of it's not unfortunate. His mom, his dad, and his sister, they get to attend, but there's a limited amount of attendance, even non-COVID. It's very private, small ceremonies. So they are still going, and I think it's going to be in Boston. Actually, I don't even think it's going to be in DC. So they're getting to go do that in the fall. So it's still getting presented to them. I just, in what capacity and how it looked compared to before, I don't know.
It's okay. Let's.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to say, but like let's change. Let's go to Riley's Heroes Hit. Come on.
Okay.
So it's go for it.
Okay. So in January of 2018 is when I think it was around his birthday. I had challenged him to a PFT. He was telling me about how he wanted to join the Army. And that's when I was like, no, join the Air Force. The Air Force would be fine. But he didn't want to. Okay, fine. So I had looked up and found the Marine Corps PFT Prep Program. It's a 16-week program. You do 3 workouts a week. And so we had started doing the workouts, and we made it to week 15, day 2. And week 15, day 2 fell on May 18th. So about a week or 2 after that had happened is when we tried to pick ourselves up and attempt to do that workout. And we've done it every year since then. Amber describes it as the shitty day.
It's the shitty day, shitty emotions day. You don't know. It's all over the place. The community really does its best to try to be supportive, do the things. And of course, I'm speaking for myself. My family has my brother and my sister-in-law. We don't usually say, well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because you don't know. You don't know if you're going to be okay and be able to be around people. You don't know if you're not. And sometimes that day you're fine. It's the following days when things get quiet. That's when things start hit harder. So for that day, because we tried to, like she said, 2 weeks after, we had the funeral, and every kind of got your feet back underneath us, and things started making sense in the world again. We're like, well, we're not quitting. We wouldn't have let him quit. We're not quitting. We're going to finish this out for him. So my mom, I would like to point out that his nanny, his grandmother, was also doing this workout with us and with him.
His grandmother?
If
Yes.
my mother can do this, nobody else has anything to say.
Yes.
Like, you can do it too, but there's modifications. They're all on the website already shown. We'll get to that in a second. But so we're at the park that we started this with here in town in Santa Fe. And have y'all ever heard of that folks saying if there's a cardinal present, that's somebody coming to visit you?
Yeah. Actually, my parents just told me that about a week ago.
Yeah. So we're there. We walk up to the thing and we put down our little towels to be able to lay on the ground without getting all itchy. And then we hear this bird just chirping away. And we're like, bro, dude. And we look up and it's this bright red cardinal just chirping away in between the 2 trees that we were underneath. He stayed for the entire 30 minutes and didn't shut up the entire time we were working out. And so I stopped and I looked at both of them. I was like, y'all know who that is right there, right? Like, y'all know what this is. My mom didn't know the story behind it. So we explained it to her. And of course, crying, you're trying to do push-ups and crying is not easy, by the way. It's very difficult in running when you're crying or trying not to cry. It's hard because you can't breathe. And so but it made it that much more special that, okay, you know what? We're getting support. We're on the right track. Here's some encouragement. You see what we're doing. Keep going with it. So we finished it out. The next year, Alan and I just said, like, you know what? Today's 18th. Let's go. Pulled up that workout, went and did it, took pictures and sent it off. This past year, a friend of ours was unlucky enough to be here at my house that day. And we're like, we're working out today. So are you. And got her doing it. And I blasted it on Facebook because I wanted to share what we found out was, and people know this, physical activity, you're going to feel better when you're done. It's chemical, it's hormonal. You're going to have a few minutes of reprieve, of just a minute to just go without all that mental noise that you have going on in your body. And we figured out that with this grief, it gave us a bittersweet way to connect to him still on that day and honor his memory in a positive way, give ourselves a positive coping mechanism, and just kind of push his memory a little bit more forward each year. We're not forgetting, we're still doing these things with you. And we invited everybody, like, here's the workout, everybody. Show us your sweaty after pictures. Good luck. And so then we did it. And then we showed our sweaty pictures. It was hot that day. And it was May. And so we, this year we thought about it, and his 501c3 for the Christian Riley Garcia Foundation got underway last year. Finally, that's a lot of paperwork, by the way.
Yeah, they're hard.
That is
But it's for
ridiculous.
good reason. They're
It's
hard.
for good reasons, yeah. But it's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so we thought, well, you know what? We do this workout every year, and we do this for his memory. Why not do it as a fundraiser to benefit his charity? And
Right.
then the other half, we're splitting it up. Half of it will go to his foundation. The other half of it is going to the documentary to get it finalized and then put on platforms where it needs to go or whatever it needs to do, the final stuff for funding. Next year, it's half goes to his charity, half is going to a veterans charity in our area, or it doesn't even have to be in our area, but I would like to support somebody local.
Yeah.
But any veterans military charity to go forward,
So yeah, we're gonna try and make it an annual thing.
every year. And so
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did y'all so the sponsors, y'all saw y'all got sponsors, Bossletics and Merrily Mortal?
Merely Mortal, yeah, that's one of the trainers at Bossletics.
So,
A friend of mine is also a massage therapist. Her name is Robin Mack. She's with Conscious Contact Massage. She just like, here, give me a bunch of them. Here you go, knock yourself out. And I'm like, wow, okay, thanks, dude. So Pico at Bossletics has been amazing. We were at the gym and we just walked up to him. He didn't know us. We were kind of new members, but we're like, hey, so we have this thing and I don't know if you'd be on board with it. And we explained it to him. Boom, that day he was like, yes, here, we're doing this. And I'm like,
Yeah, amazing.
really? And he's like, yeah, and he's all about supporting it. Turns out he has a connection to the event on May 18th. His wife's,
I think his wife's sisters were in, at the high school. Like, it's so weird. There's always
very
this
small.
6 degrees of separations around here. So he was like, absolutely. What do I need to do? What do you want me to do? I'm like, okay, thank you.
so
My
that's when,
sister talks nothing but his praises. Actually, she says he's a great guy. So
He really is.
She says
he's,
it.
a,
Absolutely.
he's a solid dude. Like, that's a solid dude right there.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be bad.
And
So then we came up with this idea.
Okay, so how did that idea come about?
a friend of mine is really kind of fun. She was like, everybody does t-shirts, right?
Yeah.
For 5Ks and fundraisers. And I'm like, man, I got a ton of them in my closet. I don't ever wear them. She's like, so why don't you do like a towel or something like that? And you can call it the Riley Rally towel. And I'm like, we go to a gym. This is a fitness oriented thing. You're going to get sweaty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And something different. So we came out with that and we left. One of the big things that we're pushing with this is the doing something hard, getting out of your comfort zone. Do that hard thing that's uncomfortable and you're gonna be able to push through it. And the healing through movement for mental health and for your body those are 2 very important principles that we hold dear. And because Riley did the ultimate hard thing. He sacrificed his life for others. So what can you do? And you got something to say?
Mm-mm.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Are you making fun of me that I'm moving my hands too much?
Yes.
Yes.
My hands are down here.
I do. I land planes. Anyway, so Pico, he gave us the jumping off point to be able to get the towels started so that we could start promoting and getting it out there.
And then Courtney, she was there while I was showing Pico the video, because the best way I can like explain to someone about Riley, I mean, you can talk about him, but like I showed him the trailer for the movie. And I was like, you just have to see this. This is the best way. And Courtney was in the room and she started watching it too. And she was like, how can I help? And so she's been amazing. She jumped in and kind of both feet and was like, how can I help? And her brand is Merely Mortal. And then she hooked us up with, because she was like, this logo would look really neat on a t-shirt. And I'm like, yeah, probably so. Okay.
We were just starting small.
I mean, yeah, we were just trying to start small, because towels were, real low key. But she got us a logo created for a t-shirt, and now we're gonna take that and run with it. And
so there'll be a limited run of t-shirts available too that are gonna go up on the website.
That's awesome.
So I just got to get them done, and then off we go. We just finally finished all that today, actually, which is pretty exciting. But we left the flag on the right side.
Right.
I I know you two would probably, and everybody on your podcast would be like, you make sure it's on the right.
Yeah.
And then we
Yes.
put the either the John 15:13 is going to stay on this side, or the original design has it on one arm and the one thing's on the other arm.
Mhm.
So we wanted to make sure we keep that. It's not an overly religious thing. We just like the message of say it, because I say it wrong every single time.
No
please.
greater love has no man than to lay down one's life for one's friend. Blah,
Yes.
blah, blah.
So
Yeah.
we've
I was
managed-
reading it last night. That's
Yes, right.
Yeah.
It's them. Well, and I think like Grunt Style, they did a shirt about it too. But you see
We
that
found
a
it.
lot with the kneeling soldier. It's what he did. I don't know that there's anything that describes what he did better than that quote. He laid down his life for his friends, and he helped 11 kids.
I saw an interview yesterday that was from the day that it actually happened, and it was a girl who
Jay,
yeah, she's
Jay,
Amazing.
that girl,
Is going to be somebody.
I'm going to say it again in public right now. She's going to be something amazing.
That's
That
what I'm
girl's
telling you.
gonna-
That's what I thought too. When I saw it last night, I was like, this girl's gonna change the world. And
She's
I
going to be a
just-
president. She's going
Thank
to be a
you.
president or
Thank-
something someday.
Thank you for being somebody that's not
Yeah.
that knows her, that is saying, I'm going to point this out to her when I talk to her.
Yeah. After I watched, I was like, oh man, yeah, it got me. It got me, and I
Yes.
Jay, one of the main reasons why we had a glimpse into what Riley had done that day is because she was with him. She actually is also in the documentary, so she's able to voice her own experience in her own words in this documentary too. So you'll be able to hear it from her as well. It's not only talking about what he did, you get a glimpse into the journey that this girl's having to walk every single day. She's doing the hard thing every single day because she lives through that.
Lived through it, and she still goes back to that school
And she still
every day.
goes back to the school, and she has an amazing mom and support system to be able to keep doing the things she's doing. And obviously we love her, and whatever we can do to support that girl to take over the world, do it.
Yeah.
Go run.
Really-
But it was
It was a Saturday.
It was 2 days. It was Saturday. It was the next day. The timeline blurs all around that time. I get a phone call from her mom, and because it was a weird separation thing that Friday, we thought maybe we had spent 8 hours at the school trying to figure out where he was. We couldn't find him. It was a pretty brutal day. I'm there with my brother and my sister-in-law. I'm calling in every favor I knew at the hospitals. I'm like, I don't care. I don't know. Go find him. If you know somebody on the news, here's his picture, blast it. Maybe he's hiding somewhere. And then, as the day goes on, the writing's on the wall, what actually happened, where he is. And as the day went on, I'm sending out to some friends all over the place. And she's like, I got something back. Well, it turns out my friend is friends with somebody who was friends with Jay's mother, who in turn showed it to Jay. And then it circled back around that she saw him, and he was right behind her, but that was the last thing she knows, and she doesn't know if he made it out. And I'm getting that during the day of the 18th, and I'm like, oh shit, and we still haven't been told anything. It was not a pleasant day, a pleasant experience. But so we find out later that day of what happened. They break the news. DPS comes in. They tell you the whole spiel. We go home. The next day, I get a phone call from her mom, and I'd sent a message to my friend. I'm like, I would love to be able to talk to her and at least tell her thank you for letting me know what you did, and be able to communicate with me if she has any insight on the day, and if she's even able to talk about it, she can call me, and if she wants to. And so I get a phone call from Jay's mom the next day, and then Jay and I that little girl is brave, because she's not only having to relive her day the next day, she's having to talk to somebody who's in the middle of being emotional like I am right now. And I was like, baby, I don't even know how to ask you this, but please just tell me about your day. Just talk. I'm not going to ask you any questions. And she was able to tell me what Riley had done and what she knew he did up until the time that she had left, or he actually shoved her out and told her to go is what he did. So, and said, go, get out. And so for her to be brave enough to do that the next day to somebody she didn't even know, and had the bravery and the compassion to be able to give that gift to my family of information, the least I can do is try to carry Riley's memory forward of doing the hard thing and her example of doing the hard and the right thing at your own expense. Like, it's not about you anymore. It's about everybody else at this point. So I don't know why I just rambled on about that.
No.
Nah.
You
know, like, this is what happens when you talk to me. I'm sorry, Rob.
No, it's all right. It's all right. So I'm sorry. I kind of
it's a lot to this story, so it's kind of hard to like.
There's like 6 degrees to it. Is what it is.
And I'm over here trying to be.
Yeah, you're like, oh, look up, open your eyes wide. Yeah, all the strategies. So okay. So Riley's Hero Hit. How can they find you?
Okay, go ahead. So we have a Facebook, we have an Instagram. There's a website linked in both pages. It's www.rileysherohit.weebly.com. If you click on the shop link, you can get your towel and we will ship it to you ASAP. On there, the link, there is it explains what the workout is. There's videos for each station. It goes through what the workout actually is. So it's high intensity interval training. So it's going to be 30 minutes. There are 5 stations with 2 workouts. Each workout is 30 minutes a piece.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Excuse me.
Don't scare people like that.
So it's 30 seconds a piece. So
yeah,
you'll do
he
those.
even made a face too. He's like, no.
So you'll do those 30 seconds a piece back to back. You get a 30-second break, and then you'll do the next station 30 seconds back to back. And you'll do all 5 stations 3 times. And then at the end, there's a
run.
Small 300-yard shuttle. 2.
Small.
Actually, it's 2 300-yard shuttles.
Small.
It's small. There was so if you want to talk about big, on day 15 or
it was more
on week 15, day 1, it's 6 800-meter runs.
So we changed it.
So we switched it around.
It was I don't want to do that. I don't know anybody would want to do. We just lost everybody with that. Like, no. So 2 300s, and if you can't run it, walk it. You can ruck it. You can ruck and run it. I don't care. I just want you to do it. Like, and
the idea is to just get up and move. Have you ever read Dan Crenshaw's book, Fortitude?
I'm reading it right now.
Oh my gosh. So there's a part in there where he talks about going through this hard thing and that feeling you get on the other side. Like, going through that hard thing, it sucks because it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. It should not be easy. Right. You should work your butt off to do something hard. But then that feeling that you have on the other side, looking back, going, yeah, I did that. That was hard, but I feel good because I did it and I accomplished it. Like, that's the point of this workout. Like, it's not supposed to be easy. Like, things aren't ever supposed the hard things that you work for are never supposed to be easy, because if it was easy, everybody could do it, and then, participation trophies for everyone. It's supposed to be hard. So that feeling you get on the other side, like, yes, I picked myself up, I accomplished it, boom, I did that hard thing. Like, that's what this is about, because that's what he did. He picked himself up, he did the hard thing.
It cost him. So what can you do if you're having a hard time mentally for whatever reason? On May 18th, that hard thing for us is getting through the day and remembering something really shitty on a shitty day. So getting through that day is hard. So let's take it one step further and exercise and make it even worse. But it actually makes it better. You're doing something that you don't want to do because it's exercise. Some people like it. I like it, but it's not the point. That's not the point. But you're doing the hard thing mentally. Sometimes it's harder to do things mentally than it is physically. But if you can get yourself into a space mentally where you can connect a positive mental thing to a negative and a positive physical thing, maybe that'll help you, and you will get that 30 minutes of relief. And that might get the only relief you get that day. Yeah. But if I can give you 30 minutes or 30 seconds or 5 minutes, or just if you're not exercising, you're there to spend the camaraderie with us and just be in a positive moment and have a few seconds of just relief that can help with your anything mentally you and emotionally you got going on that day. That's worth it to me, to be as uncomfortable as I need to be. If I can share that and push that forward along with the memory of my nephew in a positive way and share his spirit and forward and help other people, which is what he was doing, then let's do this. Let's get this done. I want to try to help as many people as I can. And mental health and physical health is very important to both of us. And so if this is something that we can help other people accomplish in the military and veteran community, it's a big thing. You know that.
Yes.
She knows that. If it, and it speaks to highlight to a lot of those things. So a lot of the morals and principles that you guys hold and were ingrained into y'all for however long you were in, I think for me it's worth it, and it makes me feel good too. Like I get relief from that. So if I just want to help at least one person, it's worth it for me.
You guys are doing an amazing job. Let me tell you. And y'all's strength is giving people strength, if that makes any sense.
I hope so.
Your courage, just being able to talk about everything, and the fact that y'all just didn't quit. Y'all kept doing something. And you know, like what's the saying? How do you say do something hard? Is that what you said?
Do something hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so if when is the documentary coming out? I wanted to ask these questions before I forget. I don't know if we said.
The first in-person premiere is actually this April 23rd. That is the first. It's been viewed at these other film festivals like this. Like it's just a Zoom link and they watch it. This is the first time that actual audiences are going to be able to go see it's this film and 9 others. And so they're actually able to go into the movie theater, and my family is able to go with Brandon to a movie theater and see the baby, like see the fruits of the hard labor. And so that's the 23rd is the actual first premiere.
What time is it?
At 4. Let me hold on. I have
And then the premiere is anybody
can go.
Yep.
Okay,
okay.
pull all that up for you real quick, and then that way I can have that. I should have had it already gone, but it's at 4:40, and they're doing an encore. They actually secured an encore presentation on that Sunday, as well, the 25th.
Yes,
so
you had it written in your notes.
I had it written in my notes, but I also took a picture. I'm just, okay. So the 23rd, it is at 4:40 p.m. at the Cinemark Theaters in Memorial City. I will send those links to you so that you can have that. But you have to go in and put in the date for the tickets, because you'll see all the movies that are out now and you're like, I don't see it. So you go over to there, put in April 23rd or April 25th, scroll down to the Love Thy Neighbor documentary, the story of Christian and Riley Garcia for World Fest. And you can click on the time. It's at 4:40 on April 23rd, which is a Friday, or I think it's later on the second day. I didn't see the time yet. Getting the communication and getting the times is still pretty new, because we just got all this last week. Okay. And they're like, where is it? And they're like, it's right there. And I'm like, but it's, I'm sorry, 7:10 p.m. on April 25th. That's the encore presentation. And both can be purchased, I believe, online through the links or in person at the box office. Okay. So you can get them on both.
And they can get their Riley's Rally towel. You try to say
Riley Rally towel.
That can be purchased where?
Through the website. So if you follow us through Facebook, Riley's Hero Hit, or Instagram, Riley's Hero Hit, both pages should have the link for the website. Click on the link and then just follow through to the shop, and then you can get your towel.
And if you can type into a search bar, it's www.rileysherohit.weebly.com. We'll take you also straight to it. Hit the website.
Sweet. Y'all want to do a small plug for your sponsors? If people were interested in Bossletics, how would they be able to find more information on that?
Bossletics, you can check them out on Instagram and on Facebook, as well as their physical location on 517 in Dickinson. They are an incredibly amazing gym, very welcoming. You're going to love it there, and just come get your sweat and your lift on. And come say hi to Pico. He's pretty great.
In Merely Mortal, how would they?
Merely Mortal. So Courtney, she's one of the personal trainers there, and it's her brand, Merely Mortal bossletticco.com
Mhm.
is, I believe, the website, and Courtney is her name, and you can find her at Bossletics.
She's a trainer there, and she's
Sweet.
She's
legit good at what she's doing there too. So
Yes.
she'll hook you up with some muscles.
Nice. I need them.
Yeah. And then Robin Mack can also be found on Facebook for Conscious Contact Massages and she's out of Houston.
You guys, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
It's been a pleasure and an honor. If I can help you guys in any way, please let me know. Okay.
Absolutely. This is helpful. Yeah. Just doing this.
I just again wanted to tell you thank you, and we appreciate y'all being on. And Riley's Heroes Hit. I get it confused.
Yes, it's a mouthful.
It's a lot. Yeah.
So get your Riley Rallies towel. There you go. Now that's it, guys. So I just want to tell everybody thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you again. As always, Charlie Mike.